Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you're amazing, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we've got to break down the impact of the Brandon Herrera v. Tony Gonzalez. The thing that Brandon Herrera took to the mat, he put it to the establishment, made them waste millions upon millions of dollars. They soiled their diapers, they sweat a whole lot, but in the end, they were able to pull it out by, Tim, 470 votes for the RINO gun-controlling Tony Gonzalez. But we're going to break it all down right now because this was nothing short of an incredible accomplishment, even in the face of defeat. Brandon won. We're going to break it down right now. So go, guys, make sure you hit that second, Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And with that, Tim, I told you I wasn't able to recreate that intro. I told you I couldn't do it.
Next time, turn your mic on. So, yeah, Ernest.
Rude.
Boy, he spent a lot of time, or one of his interns, spent a lot of time on Twitter just absolutely trash-talking Brandon, just making up stuff whole cloth. He's a Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
He hates Trump.
Neo-Nazi, yeah.
Yeah, he makes Nazi videos, and he's not even a real Texan, and it's just everything just over and over and over again. And he spent $8 to $10 million. Brandon spent like $1 million.
Oh, I've got it. I've got the money and figures.
Oh, do you have the numbers?
Yep.
Yeah, but then old Ernest had to trot out, Abbott and Speaker of the House Johnson, and they were all panicking because the RINO, who votes for gun control, who votes right down party lines, the Democrat party lines, but calls himself a Republican, they had to back their RINO's play.
You got to get the RINOs in the race, man. You got to get those RINOs so you can really stop the mix mash and the resistance to the uniformity party. Yeah, the uniparty is really a thing up there, isn't it? Well, let me walk you through a few things here, show you the baseline, what the outcome was, and then we're going to talk about the actual impact of this, because the impact was bigger than the outcome. Check this out. So, of course, number one, U.S. Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas fights off challenge from gun rights activist and GOP runoff. We knew that. But here's the actual results, Tim, and I did a live stream on this when it was actually coming in. This is how close this was. 50.7% to the RINO Tony Gonzalez, 49.3 to Tim. I mean, that is 400 votes difference.
Yeah. Gosh, if just a few more people had gotten out to vote. And that's just it. I mean, this is fairly low turnout, right? You're talking 30,000 votes. And it's because it's a runoff election, right?
Oh, 100%.
It would have been great to have seen this go to like a standard election to see how Brandon would have fared against Ernest. But if we had the same numbers as a standard election, not just a runoff,
right.
But 30,000 votes. He got within a little over 1% of Ernest's take of the votes. Yeah. And look, it's really hard to unseat an incumbent, no matter how bad that incumbent is. It's hard to unseat them, right? They have brand recognition, even if it's a bad brand. But keep in mind, people vote down party lines. So when you have two candidates fighting it out in the same party, they're going to tend to go with the incumbent just because they know the name. It gets very confusing,
Tim. It gets very confusing. I mean, 2 R's? The choices. You're exactly right.
And so it's just the way it plays out. But what's amazing about this is we had a gun tuber who is not a politician, who stepped into the race, saw an opportunity here to come in and right or wrong, and absolutely did better than I would think most people thought he might. And he put the RINOs back on their heels. I mean, they literally spent millions of dollars. Brandon spent around $1 million and just used social media, and he darn near took it.
That's exactly right. You just nailed it. So when I was doing the live stream of this, I said something to my audience, and as I was kind of just piecing through the thought process, it kind of clicked in my head. Even if they were to win this race like he did, they still lose. Even if Brandon won, they lose. It was a lose-lose for the RINO establishment, for the GOP, for anyone who would vote for gun control on the right side of the aisle. There was no good outcome. There was only a better or worse outcome. So let me walk you through this, guys. If Tony Gonzalez wins, the RINO establishment has to support a gun-controlling, gun-voting representative on the GOP side. They had to spend $10 million of their war chest to support their guy. They had to have Greg Abbott come out and help him, and the Speaker of the House had to help him. Even if Brandon didn't win, do you understand how powerful that is?
Yeah.
God.
And one thing that really opened my eyes. Well, I guess we've seen this coming for a while, but I remember when Speaker Johnson took the gavel and we were talking about like, wow, man, like he promised not to bring any anti-gun measures to the floor. And so far he hasn't.
So far.
And he, we're like, well, maybe this will work out okay. Right. And then we started to see his true colors, and his true colors really showed during this election cycle. If he came out, claims to be pro-gun, and hasn't let an anti-gun vote go to the floor yet, but then backs a candidate that literally voted for the Safer Communities Act, which is Biden's signature gun control law, the most comprehensive gun control in 30 years. We need more, but it's great. And Ernest supported it, and Johnson supported Ernest.
Yeah, that's not a good look. No. But again, so that's where this goes back to, Tim, because this is bigger and broader, and we've said this multiple times. The whole thing was bigger and broader than Brandon and Tony's race, right? Because Matt Gaetz was involved backing Brandon, Bob Good was involved backing Brandon, and then basically the Speaker of the House had to put down the extremist wing of his party by supporting the establishment. That's what this was about. This was about inter-party broad politics. This was not Brandon and Tony. This was absolutely about the centralized power of the GOP and ousting the extremist. That's exactly what this was about.
It's let's put it in proper terms. It's about the RINOs ousting the conservatives.
Yeah, that's very true. No, that's great terms. Great terms. Yeah. But that is what this was. I mean, like, there's no other way to shake a stick at it. That's why they spent $10 million. That's why they supported him from the speakership, the governorship. I mean, literally, Brandon stepped into a quagmire and still almost won.
Yeah. Against the GOP establishment with all their resources. Calling out. I mean, we've said this before. Speakers of the House don't show up to Texas 23 district to campaign for an incumbent RINO.
Never.
It just doesn't happen. And yet it happened. And why did it happen? Because a non-politician, career gun guy, YouTuber, social media content creator stepped into the race out of the blue and darn near took their lollipop from them.
That's exactly right. But you know something inspiring and even bigger than anything else? I cannot tell you how many people I saw in my chat during this live stream. There's like 130,000 people on this live stream, like in total. A lot of them were saying it inspired them to do something locally.
Good.
That's the thing. That's the thing, dude.
Yep.
Yes.
And I suspect Brandon learned a lot from this. I think he has a career in politics if he chooses to go down that path. He's good, yes. Right? And I think that this proves that he has the capability of winning. And now that he made such a strong showing, I would imagine the money is going to flow more freely next time around. Right?
Exactly.
Because he really put a dent in these establishment RINOs and their little campaign effort. And people took notice all across the board. When national media is talking about Texas 23, that's a big deal.
You are over the target, man. That's exactly correct. So a lot of people had hesitation because he's a gun YouTuber and he's a prankster and he's a joke. A lot of people had intrepidation about supporting him. He just came within 400 votes as a joke candidate with the RINO establishment, everything facing against him. I guarantee you if he runs again, he will have significantly more support. Guarantee it.
Yep. And he'll probably take Ernest's seat from him.
Yes. I 100%. And so now let's get into the actual money because there's a few open secret things I want to show you. And just for continuity, this is number 3. Republican Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas narrowly won his primary Tuesday against Brandon. We know that because he was threatening to unseat him. Here's the money on open secrets. Now, I want to say something that's pretty important. Brandon is very confident in saying that $10 million was spent to oust him. The money that is being reported from my sources, and I'm not saying Brandon's wrong, I'm just saying the only thing I can find to actually bring hard data is $5 million. Now, that I'm not saying it's not there, but right now I can only find $5 million to show you guys. So this is number 4, Tim. Look at this. Tony Gonzalez raised roughly $5 million and spent $4 million. Okay, so $4 million. Brandon Herrera raised 1.3 and spent 1.2. You're talking about a 25% comparison. So 1 to 4, according to these numbers, 1 to 10, according to what Brandon has told us.
Yeah. And I've heard numbers of 8 million to 10 million. So I don't know if these numbers reflect every single dollar raised or if there were PAC dollars thrown in there. GOP. This is what their campaign raised, and there are other sources of money that come in from various sources, like the super PACs and all this other stuff, people that throw money at candidates. So I don't think this is the whole picture, but yeah, I mean,
this is even here individually.
Right. So even here, you see, like you said, 1/4 of the amount money raised and spent, yet he came within
407 votes. Yeah, dude. It's so massive. And again, here's what we were talking about. This is where it connects to the bigger thing. This is why this is so crucial, guys. This is number 5. Governor Abbott, U.S. Speaker Johnson come in for Tony Gonzalez and GOP runoff against Brandon Herrera. That was from April. So everything that we're showing you right now, this is the entire lineage of this race and how Brandon was able to do everything that he accomplished. And more importantly, how he was to make the other people act is almost the bigger story. They were scared crapless.
Oh, yeah. Yep, they were.
Dude, could you imagine being a fly on the wall in some of these conversations when the Speaker of the House calls Tony and goes, well, congratulations, you won by 400 votes. Yeah. $10 million for 400 votes?
Dude, and again, I can't stress enough how big it is that Johnson came out to Texas 23 because keep in mind, this is a man that is third in line for the presidency.
Exactly.
Right? This is not some regular politician. This isn't a Matt Gaetz coming out to campaign for you. I mean, that's he did for Brandon, right? But Gaetz, or Getz or whatever his name is, Getz.
Gaetz, yeah.
He's just another Congress critter, right? Johnson is third in line for the presidency. If Biden and Harris are not in the picture, he's the president. So he's not just your average run-of-the-mill politician. Then, of course, the Abbott, the governor of Texas, I mean, that's the biggest GOP gun in Texas. He comes out against Brandon and supports the RINO, which tells you a lot about old Abbott.
400 votes, man.
Yeah.
It could have been if Speaker hadn't been involved, if Abbott hadn't been involved. This was a threads victory. I mean, like the skin of his teeth, he crept over the victory line.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is a message to all RINOs.
Even though he's, like on social media applauding his performance. I guarantee you, he's sitting at home going, oh my gosh, I only got a couple of years left because this kid's going to take me out.
Dude, that's exactly right. But in conclusion, though, guys, this is the point. People spent $10 million trying to get an incumbent who is incredibly hard to unseat to stay in power. Speaker of House, Governor of Texas, all these different institutions were trying to keep their guy in place, and he almost lost. Other people saw this. It will inspire other people to run for their local offices and for national offices. It will inspire people to support Brandon in the future. It will put a dent in the RINO's armor to think that they're invincible. This was incredibly important. He accomplished more than most have, to be honest.
Yep. And it was fun watching him squirm, and I can't wait till the next election cycle. I'm sure, Brandon, if you're watching this, you got the support of the community. I think your support base just grew with this outstanding performance on your part.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you want to make another run for it, I know you're going to have the backing. Thanks for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.